Hey everybody, my name is Nal. Welcome back to the show. I was gonna do a funny little intro skit involving Halloween, but I needed rope, and I forgot to get that. Fuck me. And today, my fine feathered friends, we're gonna be talking about Garuda. Now, normally with these types of videos, I usually go in and sort of dissect the entirety of the dev stream instead of just picking one topic and like talking about that. It seems like a large majority of the dev stream was spent talking about Garuda, and there wasn't really a whole lot of other things being talked about. So I decided to just talk about Garuda, and I'll leave the rest of the dev stream alone because it's all either stuff that's very inconsequential or things that we already know. So first off, just the way she looks. The way she looks. Alright? Her appearance. The fashion frame. I'm not even exaggerating when I say this. I think this might actually be the best looking frame we've ever had. Excluding, of course, Tenno-Gen skins, deluxe skins, and prime variants. Regarding like the base variant and skin of all frames, I think Garuda might be the best. Even if we include Tenno-Gen deluxe skins and prime variants, like, she's up there. Next up is her passive. Her passive is basically where the lower her health is, the more damage she does. It sounds good on paper, but I do have one question. Is it like the lower her health is, the more ability strength she gains? Like, the more damage she outputs through her abilities? Or is it abilities and weapons? Because you're literally losing health. You're goring yourself, more on that later, to get this passive to optimal numbers. And if it only goes through your abilities, it doesn't sound like it's going to be very worth it. But if it's also through her weapons, very worth it. That's a question I kind of want answered. And knowing DE, that's probably going to be left up to the YouTubers to answer, which is one of the many things I criticize Warframe on. It's my favorite game in the whole world, but it has its issues, and transparency is one of them. But other than that, the passive sounds pretty good. Her first ability is where her similarities to Valkyria really shine, where she literally takes her claws, lunges at an enemy, and just fucking like rips them in half. I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work. Is it going to be like it takes from your melee damage and then does like finisher damage on top of that? Is it going to have its own like damage kind of thing? Or is it just going to be a one-hit kill and certain enemies are going to be exempt from the ability? But that's not all. That's not all that she has to her first ability. God damn it, my hair. That's not all her first ability has to offer, though. After you rip said enemy in half, again, this is another question. I don't know if this happens after you kill them, and it doesn't happen if you don't kill them, or if it's a guaranteed kill and you don't have to worry about that, or if this happens regardless of whether or not you kill them, and so again, you don't really have to worry about that. But again, unfortunately, we probably have to wait till the Warframe actually comes out in order to get those questions answered. So just wait on that, I guess. But after you've ripped said enemy in half, a blood shield, a blood directional shield appears in front of you. It's duration based, so it can take as much damage as you need it to. So you can take as much damage as you need it to. And on top of the shield is a little ball. Actually, it's not very little. It's a pretty big ball. And basically, that ball actually absorbs the damage that the shield takes in to add to its charge. And then even after the shield is gone, the ball still remains. Once you take that ball, you can either throw it right away, or you can Kamehameha it and sort of charge it up, draining your energy, and just throw it outward. And depending on, how much damage you took in from the shield, how much you charged it up, etc., it does a lot of damage. And it's AoE too, so you can just throw that into a crowd and they're just all dead. Personally, I think that's a lot for a first ability. Not only is it just a lot of things that it can do, and it's like kind of overwhelming, but it's also a little bit overpowered for it to be a first ability. I'm not saying it's overpowered, I'm just saying for a first ability it's a bit much. Now personally, I don't mind if the ability stays exactly how it is. It's going to be a little bit overwhelming, but we'll figure it out. My only problem is that it's in the first ability slot. Let me know down below if you disagree. Personally, I just think it should be a third ability. That's a little bit much for a first ability. I think her first and her third, more on her third, should be swapped. But again, that's just me. Let me know down below if you disagree. Her second ability is where she summons like a pike out of the ground made of like her bone, I think. and it just impales the enemy. I wouldn't rely on this to kill anything. Unless you're like really low on the star chart, like you're fighting, like I'm talking like Mercury and like Earth levels low, this probably won't kill anything. But what it does do is it creates a spire out of the enemy's body, and it creates like a area of effect sort of thing where when Garuda, when she goes into the circle, she basically drains blood from the spire over time. And as it's draining their blood, it takes their health away over time, and it heals you over time. I don't think this ability should change at all. Personally, I've seen a lot of people online saying that this should do like health over time plus damage resistance sort of thing. I don't think so. I think it should just remain health over time, and that's gonna come in very useful with her third ability. The thing that I said should be her first, which is where she essentially takes her claws and gores herself, and it takes half of her max HP. So it's not like half her current HP, it's half of her max HP. But it will not bring you any lower than 2 hit points. But essentially, what'll happen is since your health is so low, your passive kicks in. So you're able to deal out more damage when your health is low. But along with this ability kicking in your passive, it also works a lot like Rage, where whenever you gore yourself and lose your health through this ability, it actually replenishes your energy. What I'm hoping is that it actually stacks on top of Rage. So like if I had Rage on Garuda, I think the conversion rate for Rage, for a maxed out Rage, is I think like for every 10 health you get 3 energy back. I could be wrong about that. I think it's actually the same conversion rate for her third ability. For every 10 health loss, it's 3 energy back. But I'm wondering if it stacks with Rage. So like if you have Rage on Garuda, do you basically get like a 60% energy conversion rate? Because that would be awesome. That question I'm definitely not expecting DE to answer. That one will certainly have to be answered by probably not even the YouTubers, because I don't think any YouTubers are going to be testing with that. I might actually have to answer that. So, tune in when Garuda comes out, I guess. Keep in mind, though, that I only upload every 14 days of the month, and I play on console, so do not expect that video to come out right away. Her fourth and final ability, and the ability that I have the most amount of opinions on, is where she disconnects the blades from her wrists, and they just kind of fly around her super fast as she's like floating in the air like some like goddess. And it actually sucks enemies towards her within like a certain vicinity. So she's like a trash compactor, basically. She sucks enemies in and just kind of blends them. As awesome as this ability is, and I should also mention it's duration based. Her second ability is also duration based. I need to point all that out. My version of her ultimate would actually be a drain based. And I already tweeted them this idea. I've already posted it in the Warframe forums. So whatever hope I have of this change going through is not going to be increased by making this video. But I just want to talk about this really, because this is probably the best idea I've ever had. I would love them to change that ability so that instead of the blades flying around you super fast and she's like floating in the air, what essentially would happen is her blades would still disconnect from her wrist, and they would still like fly around her, but they would instead orbit around her very slowly, just kind of floating around her passively. And then whenever you press your melee button, circle on PS4, B on Xbox, whatever it is on PC, whenever you press your melee button, she sort of commands the blades with her hands as if she's like connected to them via like puppet strings. I think I'll have like a video playing on screen right now of essentially what I'm imagining. Basically, she's just controlling these blades with her hands. So when she's attacking, she'll like swipe and just slash enemies in front of her. When she's blocking, the swords would sort of get in front of her and circle around like a shield. And then if she were to do like a charge, she could gather like, let's say, 6 of these blades where her fingers are and they could and they could spin around like a shuriken, and she would just throw them. It would still fit the theme of her sort of blood mage ballerina of death thing that they got going on. I think that would be so awesome, and they really should do it. I'm really hoping they make that change, because remember, everything here is subject to change. This video could be completely dated by the time Garuda comes out. I really hope they go through with it, but I don't think they will, which kind of disappoints me. But I do still like her ultimate. I do like the ultimate that they have planned at the moment. I just think the whole controlling the blades with her hands thing is so much more badass. But I do still like her ultimate, so if they don't go through with this change, I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed, but I will still love Garuda. Because her whole kit looks amazing, she looks amazing, and I'm very excited for Garuda to come out. I think they said that Garuda's gonna come out with Fortuna, and Fortuna may or may not be out early to mid-November. Don't hold me to that. If I had to put a date on it, November 7th. Let's go with November 7th. That's when they're gonna release Fortuna. Don't quote me on that. I sounded very sure of myself there. Trust me, I'm not. But unfortunately, like I said, I play on console. So even if they do release it on, even if they do release it sometime in early to mid-November, I'm not gonna be able to play it until December. So fuck me. Am I right, guys? This was my video for today. Just kind of like a quick thoughts and rants video. I wanted to make this video a lot more entertaining than it is. But literally every single plan I had fell through. Sorry about the sort of lackluster video, like I said. I wanted to make this video so much more entertaining than it was, but literally every single plan I had fell through. I forgot to get the rope. I wanted to have my friends over who also play Warframe, so we can just kind of talk about Garuda together. But everything fell through because everything sucks. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Like, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Leave a like if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and I hope to see you all in the next video. This is Niall, signing out.